Yo, welcome back to the show. It's your boy Mo. Drakeo the Ruler versus the top op of Cali.
Specifically South Central, because that's where Drakeo the Ruler is from. If you're not familiar with Drakeo the Ruler, he's arguably the biggest underground rapper out of California right now. Drakeo, whose real name is Daryl Caldwell, grew up in the hundreds. This is a legendary section in LA. Drakeo was raised as a Crip, based on the block he's from. His neighborhood is rowdy, and it's known to be one of the most active areas in LA.
Didn't he make that song Flu Flamin'? I don't know if I'm wrong, but no, I've heard one of his songs. That jump gets it cranking.
Drakeo got older, he began his own wave with his friends from his neighborhood. They started calling themselves the Stink Team.
Y'all stink?
They still have their neighborhood affiliations, but they just wanted to have their own style. The group is made up of Drakeo the Ruler, his brother Ralphie the Plug, Catchy the Great, Kels, Bambino, and Say So the Mac. The group began having notoriety after Drakeo dropped his debut album, I Am Mr. Mosley. From there, his unique style brought him and the Stink Team to West Coast fame. While all this fame was coming, the Stink Team was living a real street life behind the scenes. But before we get into the beef, let's talk about who they don't have problems with. The Stink Team is cool with the Jordan Downs projects, also known as Grape Street. This is where the movie Menace to Society was filmed. This legendary hood is where O3 Greedo is from.
Menace to Society. That's such a great movie, man. No, I'm not gonna lie. The first time I saw that movie was in 2020. They had that joint on Netflix over quarantine. I was like, oh yeah, I'm definitely watching this joint. And after that, I just couldn't stop rewatching it.
And that's why you see Drakeo yelling Free O3. The Stink Team is also cool with the Rolling 40s. The 40s are under the Neighborhood Crips umbrella. They're located right below USC campus and the Coliseum. The Stink Team also associates with the East Coast Crips. Not to mean like East Coast New York, rather the east side of LA. That brings us to who the Stink Team is not cool with. But before we get into all that, let me run the intro. They're really... Let me be honest, the Stink Team has beef with the whole LA. They're really the top ops of Southern California. Their main and first opposition is the Inglewood families, which is located in Inglewood, obviously, right by the Chargers' new stadium. The Inglewood families go by IFGB, and they are one of the oldest established gangs in LA. They're the guys who wear red, you know, the Bloods. IFGB has been rivals with the Neighborhood Crips and Rolling 40s for decades. Inglewood family is represented by famous rappers Frosty the Snowman and Rucci.
Frosty the Snowman is the coldest rap name I've ever heard. If I was a rapper, I'd choose that name.
Frosty the Snowman got famous with his hit songs Ya Dig and Milwaukee Bucks. All of this takes me to a tragic incident in 2016. December 10th, 2016. There's a naughty pajama party in Carson, California. Both Inglewood family and the Stink Team decide to show up. Drakeo the Ruler and Stink Team members are outside the party chilling by their cars. That's when they notice their rivals from Inglewood family. An IFGB top member, Davion Gregory, who goes by Red Bull, walks out of the party with Arizona Cardinals wide receiver Travis Broom. Drakeo notices and turns around to his group and says, let's get out of here. Then Red Bull and Travis Boom walk by the Stink Team. That's when shots start flying from a man behind a black Mercedes SUV. Davion Gregory would be hit multiple times with a 40 and a 38. He would pass away at the scene. LAPD would check the security cameras from around the area and find a black Mercedes fleeing the scene. After internet research, an investigator would find the same car in Drakeo's music video.
I'm not gonna lie, a nigga run up on me with those masks on, those monkey masks. I'm giving you everything I have. Out of all the masks you could be using to rob somebody or do something with, I'm not gonna lie, that's scary, bro. And then imagine they come up to you in an animated way like an actual monkey, like,
It was his most recent music video called Chunky Monkey, and you see him driving around in the black Mercedes.
There's been a lot of weird names in this video. Chunky Monkey, Red Bull.
In that same video, they would also see a 40 and a 38. That would be all the evidence they needed to arrest Drakeo the Ruler and the Stink Team. Here's where things get interesting. LAPD decided to do some sneaky stuff. They would put all the Stink Team in different cells and they would assign them with fake cellmates. What do I mean by that? Well, their cellmates were undercover cops pretending to be criminals. The undercover cops would wear wires to see what kind of information they could get out of them.
That's wild. That's next level wild, bro. Wow.
No idea how that's legal. Like, there's no way you should be able to do that.
Exactly.
Anyways, Stink Team and Rolling 40s member Too Shitty would tell a cellmate that Jaden Boyd was the one who did it. Jaden Boyd goes by AB, so technically he said AB did it, but investigators were able to figure it out anyways. Mind you, Jaden Boyd was not even being investigated for it in the first place. Well, that would change because those comments by his friend would get him arrested. And also, because of those comments, LAPD would start giving out deals to more members who were willing to speak up. They were throwing football numbers at Drakeo and his crew. I'm talking about 20 years, 30, 40, 50, and more. That would be unless they would speak up and tell names. Well, everyone would stay solid except one. Drakeo the Ruler's right-hand man, who goes by Solo, would take a deal with the police.
It be your own man's.
He would offer to drop his charges and let him walk free if he gave up information. And he would tell them everything they needed. He would tell investigators that the whole stink team was at Drakeo's house on Aviation Boulevard before the party. He said that Drakeo found the pajama party on social media and that he wanted to pull up. He said they drove to the party in 5 cars, with Drakeo leading the way in his black Mercedes. Sola says they're all chilling at their cars when Too Shitty tells them that he sees Inglewood families in the party. Then Solo says he sees Red Bull walk by their car. He says that Drakeo the Ruler would say, "Let's get out of here." Then he says he heard shots coming from his way and he took cover. He says he saw Stink Team member Kells busting his 40 and he saw AB busting his 38.
This man told it all. He didn't do like one little sentence, one little hint. Nigga, he said it all. Detail for detail.
That's when they took the whole Stink Team down. When you hear rappers say watch your homies and that it'll be the closest ones to you that'll burn you, it's nothing but the truth. Here's how it would play out in court. Drakeo was able to hang jury twice on the murder charge, and he would only end up facing possession charges. Everyone assumed that he was in the clear, but then the judge would demand a retrial. So Drakeo would remain locked up for a few more years. This move by the judge was very controversial, and many people thought it was injustice. Well, Drakeo was finally able to get out in 2020. Things wouldn't turn out so well for his associates though. His friend and fellow Stink Team rapper Kells ended up getting life without parole. It seems that Jaden Boyd, also known as AB, is still facing his charges to this day. And then that brings us to Solo, the rat. Well, Solo would end up going free after he testified, and now he's tucking his tail out of state somewhere.
6ix9ine tattoos are crazy, man.
So now that Drakeo is out free, he has come back harder than ever. He has dropped 4 albums and he has gotten more famous across the country. That being said, the beef sadly is still going on, and it may have gotten crazier than before. Inglewood family rapper Frosty the Snowman and AZ Chike are now rocking together. Let's talk about Inglewood family for a second. They are wild because their top member Red Boy Capone would deface the Nipsey Hussle mural and post it up to the internet.
Fuck on hood. You gotta come really, you see that? You gotta come really do that to a nigga. You can't write that on the wall. Capone. Oh, 6 so crib. You can't write that on the wall. You gotta.
Nigga, that's Nipsey Hussle. Are you crazy?
That decision would end up costing him in a major way. July 8th, 2021. Capone's best friend, Indian Red Boy, would be sitting in his car on 139th Avenue. He would go on live with Capone, and that's when tragedy would occur. While on Instagram Live, you would see him hit 16 times and he would pass away right in front of your eyes. The Instagram video would go viral. The saddest part about it is that just a day later, Capone would go on Instagram Live, smiling, acting like nothing happened the day before.
They're like, what the fuck? Hey, you know it's crazy, when I was in the Bounty Blood, when the dead homies, all the Mexicans be like, man, I was in the dorm with Frosty, fool. Oh, and they was like, he was rapping this.
That fool was getting down, fool.
Oh, God.
I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt and assume that this was his coping mechanism and that he still hadn't processed what happened yet. Either that, or he's so desensitized to violence that it's just another day in his life. Either way, it's extremely sad, and it just reminds you that this whole street lifestyle is a giant waste of time. Your friends might just act like you were never important in the first place.
What a crazy story, man. Dying on Instagram Live is crazy. Shoot the like button, though.